Bismillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Tafsir of Surah Al-Kahf. We get to the middle of the surah, ayat number 60, and here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us the story of Musa ma'al Khidr. And this is a beneficial story in that it has many aspects. From them is a student with the teacher, the etiquettes. In any case, how does this begin? The story, there's a hadith where it's mentioned that Musa alayhi salam gave a khutbah, a sermon, and he said that there is nobody more knowledgeable than me, or do you know anyone more knowledgeable than me? And this was to Bani Israel. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to him Al-Khidr, that he is more knowledgeable than him. So here, this is the beginning of the story. Ayat number 60, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِفَتَاهُ لَا أَبْرَحُ حَتَّى أَبْلُغَ مَجْمَعَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ أَوْ أَمْضِيَ حُقُبًا. And mention when Musa said to his servant, لِفَتَاهُ, his servant, I will not cease traveling until I reach the junction of the two seas or continue for a long period. Because in this qissa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, or in the hadith, mentions where Musa alayhi salam would meet Al-Khidr, and it's between when the two seas meet. Then ayat number 61, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَجْمَعَ بَيْنِهِمَا نَسِيَ حُوتَهُمَا فَاتَّخَذَ سَبِيلَهُ فِي الْبَحْرِ سَرَبًا. And when they reached the junction between them, they forgot their fish, and it took its course into the sea, slipping away. The scholars of Tafsir, what they mention here is that the Musa alayhi salam and his servant, they traveled a long way. They traveled along the river. That was their journey along the river by the bank, and they became tired, so they stopped at a place, a rock, to rest. And when they rested, this rock was by the sea, by the stream, and it was by a stream which the scholars of Tafsir mention that the fish, once the water touched the fish jumped into the water, and this water is known as Ma al-Hayat, or the Sea of Life, as the scholars of Tafsir mention. So the fish, it went away. So Musa alayhi salam and his servant, the servant was carrying with him what they needed of food and drink. So here, they forgot their fish and it took its course in the sea, slipping away. Here, nasiya, as you're going to see later, i.e. they forgot, it has a meaning that they left their fish, i.e. they left their fish on the side that was with him. So, and although it mentions nasiya, both of them, it refers specifically to the servant because he was one that was carrying the fish. In ayat number 62, فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَا قَالَ لِفَتَاهُ آتِنَا غَدَاءَنَا لَقَدْ لَقِينَا مِنْ سَفْرِنَا هَذَا نَصَبًا. So when they passed beyond it, Moses said to his boy, i.e. his servant, bring us our morning meal. We have certainly suffered on this, our journey, much fatigue, because they've been traveling a long time. So remember, in the beginning he said that we're going to travel until we come to Majma' al-Bahrain, or we travel a long time, a number of years. Majma' al-Bahrain, it's where two seas meet. Okay, look at this. Why did Musa alayhi salam go on his journey in the first place? To seek knowledge. So this is why the scholars, they mention one of the conditions for the student to attain ilm is safar, to go, to travel. You see, Musa alayhi salam, he was told there was someone more knowledgeable than him. So he went to find that person, to learn and to get that knowledge, as you're going to see shortly. So one of the things of a student of knowledge, the adab, or the etiquettes of a student, is to travel to his teacher. Ayat number 63, here it says, قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة فإني نسيت الحوت وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان أن أذكره واتخذ سبيله في البحر عجبا. Here he said, and this he, qala, refers to the fatahu, i.e. the servant of Musa alayhi salam. So here the servant of Musa says to Musa, when Musa inquires about the food, prepare the meal, أَرَأَيْتَ إِذْ أَوَيْنَا إِلَى صَخْرَتِ. Did you not see when we retired to the rock, i.e. to rest? فَإِنِّي نَسِيتُ الْحُوتَ. Indeed I forgot the fish there, and none made me forget it except for Shaitan, Iblis, that I should mention it to you, i.e. remind or remember. And it took its course into the sea in an amazing way, ajaba, in an amazing way. And what did he forget? He forgot to mention to Musa alayhi salam how the sea, or how the fish took its way in the sea in an amazing way. So nasitu dhikr al-hut, i.e. he forgot to mention the hut. Okay, that was what Musa alayhi salam was looking for, which is why he said after in ayat number 64, قَالَ ذَلِكَ مَا كُنَّا نَبْغِي ذَلِكَ مَا كُنَّا نَبْغِي فَرَتَدَّ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمَا قَصَصًا. Moses said, or Musa said, that's what we were seeking. So they returned following their footsteps. I.e., what is it that they were seeking? فَقْدُ الْحُوتِ. I.e., where did the fish go? Where did the fish disappear? At that point, that's Majma' al-Bahrain. That's where the two seas meet, right? And he said that that's what we were looking for, meaning that's where we're going to find who we're looking for. Khidr. Why? Because this is an indication or a sign for them. This is something which was a sign. So then they went back, follow their footsteps. Ayat number 65. فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. And they found a abd, a worshipper from amongst our worshippers, a servant from amongst our servants to whom we had given mercy from us and had taught from us a certain knowledge. This ilm is ilm al-ghayb. This ilm is knowledge of the unseen, i.e. and this is al-Khidr. Khidr was a Nabi, a prophet from the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and some people say that he was, or some of the scholars of Tafsir said he wasn't a Nabi, but he was from the awliya of Allah, from the friends of Allah. However, when you look at the things which he does in this story, and that he says, this is that what Allah taught me, as you see at the end of the story, it shows that he either received knowledge directly from Allah or he received revelation, which is why some of the scholars say or use this to show that he is a Nabi. He's a prophet from the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is, now they met and they went back to the place where the sheep, and that's where they found Al-Khidr. And there's the scholars of Tafsir, they mention the dialogue that takes place between Musa alayhi salam and Khidr. Al-Khidr with regards to Khidr asking Musa, why has he come? Is he not busy with the knowledge that he has? Suffices him the knowledge he has, and his occupation was business with the people. However, this is Musa alayhi salam was ordered or commanded to go and find Al-Khidr. So ayat number 66, Musa replies. So here's the dialogue now. قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. Musa said to Khidr, may I follow you on the condition that you teach me from what you have been taught of rushda, which the scholars here means sawab, translated as sound judgment, or having sawab, being correct in what you're doing. Here, look at the way that Musa alayhi salam addresses Al-Khidr. Remember, Musa alayhi salam is a Nabi and he's a leader. But he says, هَلْ أَتَّبِعُكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُعَلِّمَنِ مِمَّا عُلِّمْتَ رُشْدًا. He's addressing him with humility and humbleness, and in a soft way, i.e. not saying, I'm going to follow you, may I follow you, can I follow you? So seeking permission, requesting. right? And this is how a person should be with his teacher. If he wants to learn something and benefit from someone, he has to be the one that's going to be showing humility to his teacher. So then he goes, ayat number 67, Khidr alayhi salam, Khidr responds to Musa saying, قَالَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Verily, he said, now this is Khidr replying to Musa. When Musa asks him, can I come with you? He said, indeed, you will never be able to have patience with me. You will not be able to have patience, You will not be able to have patience. Why? Because as you see in the story, he's going to witness things which are on the apparentness of it considered munkar. And he won't understand it because it's something from the ilm al-ghayb that Khidr has knowledge of, but Musa alayhi salam hasn't been given knowledge of. And obviously when you see it on the apparentness, the Anbiya, the prophets, they're not allowed to stay silent in the face of munkar. So they're not going to be patient and tolerate, for example, injustices or intolerate munkar happening. So then ayat number 68, again, Al-Khidr says, وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. And how can you have patience for what you do not encompass in knowledge? All right, so this is not, although it's a question, it's not really a question. It's not saying how can you, it's saying that here I understand and you have an excuse in not being patient. Why? Because it is something which you're unable to encompass in knowledge. Then ayat number 69, he goes, and this is Musa reply now, قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا. Moses said, and Musa said, you will find me, if Allah wills, insha'Allah, if Allah wills, sabiran, patient, and I will not disobey you in any order. وَلَا أَعْصِي لَكَ أَمْرًا. So two things. First of all, Musa alayhi salam responds, and this is a debate, or this is a dialogue now between them, right? So Khidr says you won't be able to be patient, and how can you be patient in these types of circumstances? Musa alayhi salam says, you're going to find me, inshallah, patient. And why does he mention inshallah istithna? Why? Because it might be the case that he's not patient, so he doesn't want to make it jazm, for sure I will be patient. He doesn't know what he's going to face. So it's something in the future. So inshallah, I'm going to be patient, inshallah. And وَلَا أَعْصِي لَكَ أَمْرًا لَا أُخَالِفُكَ فِي مَا تَأْمُرُ. And I'm not going to oppose you or disobey you in what you order me to do, or in what you order, in what you do. I'm not going to disobey you, basically, or confront you or be. So here you find Musa alayhi salam now, preparing himself for the journey. So then Khidr says, قَالَ. And he says, he gives him a choice, but he makes it conditional. قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا. He said, okay, if you follow me, meaning you have the choice, do not ask me about anything until I make to you about it mention, or until I mention it, or until I speak about it. So don't question me about what you're about to see, unless I mention it to you first, right? So that's it. This is the agreement now. Now the contract begins. So Musa alayhi salam follows him, which means he agrees to it. So he's given him the choice, but he's also set a condition. فَنِتْ تَبَعْتَنِ. If you follow me, you have a choice, you don't have to. فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي عَنْ شَيْءٍ. Don't ask me about anything. Yeah? Don't oppose me, don't go against me. So Musa alayhi salam, in ayat number 71, فَانْطَلَقَا. So they set out. يَمْشِيَانِ. They were walking. Right? So they set out walking. فانطلقا حتى إذا ركب في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. So they set out, i.e. they were walking along the shore. They were looking for a ship that they can get upon to go to a place. So they set out until when they embarked upon the ship, ركبا في السفينة, the two of them got on the ship, خرقها. Khidr tore it open, i.e. he removed one or two of the planks. قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها. Have you torn it open so you may drown its people? لتغرق أهلها. لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. You have certainly done something which is imra, which the scholars of Tafsir means munkar, something which is wrong, something which is wrong, or something which is ajib. Why are you doing that? All right. What was the reply of Khidr? Ayat number 72. قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. He just said, didn't I say you would never be able to have patience with me? Len means you will never, it's not possible, you will not in the future. Yeah, negating it in the future. All right? You will never be able to have patience with me. All right? Meaning, don't ask questions. Remember the condition, you'll come with me, but I said don't ask questions unless I speak to you about it. So he's reminding him of the agreement. Ayat number 73, what does Musa reply? قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا. Moses says, do not blame me or take me to account for what I forgot, and do not cover me in my matter with difficulty. In the hadith of Ubay bin Ka'ab that and in the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said the first time for Musa was nisyan. Yeah, this is the first time. The middle time was condition. He sets a condition. You're going to see in a minute. He sets a condition that if I ask you again after this time, then that's it. I've got no recourse anymore. And then the third time was amdan, i.e. was intentionally. Okay, here he says, لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت, if I forgot, or what I left off, what I didn't do. Right? I.e. what we agreed on and I didn't do it. لا تؤاخذني. Don't take me to account, don't be. ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا, and don't make things difficult for me. I.e. be easy. I.e. give me a chance basically, give me a chance. It's like, right? Be easy on me. Don't make it difficult on me. لا تضيق علي. Don't make it difficult on me. And this is important as well. So many lessons you can take from this. So many lessons you can take from this. The patience of the teacher with the student, the types of questions the student should ask, when the student should ask a question. Also the importance of when a person leaves off something that they were supposed to do, giving them a chance, giving them another opportunity. Okay, ayat number 74. فَانْتَلَقَا. So they moved on again. Right? فانطلقا حتى إذا لقيا غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا. So they set out. Right? So they've got off the ship now and they set out walking until they met a boy. And فقتله. And he killed him. Khidr killed him there and then, just killed him. How the scholars say they killed him, they mention different tafsir. In any case, he killed him. Musa alayhi salam said, قال أقتلت نفسا زكية. Have you killed someone who's a pure soul? بغير نفس, for other than having killed the soul, I not qisasan. You have certainly done a deplorable thing. So this nafs, i.e. they say that it was someone that was below the age of puberty. It was a child. Why? Because it mentions zakiyatan, i.e. pure. And a person's pure means that they don't have, or they haven't committed any sins. Right? Or other scholars say that he was above the age of puberty. He was baligh, adult. But there wasn't anything that he had done that has been visible for him to be killed. لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُكْرًا. This is Musa alayhi salam saying, you've done something which is a big munkar, it's azim. Something which is huge. Right? Why? This, they say, is bigger than the first one. Imra is less than nukra. I.e. nukra here, the first time he damaged the ship. This time he took a life. Meaning there's something which is bigger than the first instance. Right? And then ayat number 75. قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Khidr now said again, repeats the same thing. Did I not tell you that with me you would never be able to have patience? Did I not tell you that with me you would never be able to have patience? Again, reminding of the condition of their agreement. Another reminder. قال ألم أقل لك. He also لك before in the first it says قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Here it says قال ألم أقل لك إنك, i.e. did I not say to you that verily you, right? Okay, so here you have an additional laka, and this shows by way of zajr, i.e. it's almost like a slight admonition now. First time was a reminder, now it's an admonition, because he's reminded him the first time and he promised this time is on the condition. Then ayat number 76, Musa alayhi salam replies, قَالَ إِن سَأَلْتُكَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ بَعْدَهَا فَلَا تُسَاحِبْنِي قَدْ بَلَغْتَ مِن لَدُنِّي عُذْرًا. If, Moses now replies again, answering that, if I should ask you about anything after this, then do not keep me as a companion. Meaning that, this is last chance, you have attained from me an excuse. Meaning that that's it, I've exhausted all my options. The first one was nisyan, the second one was sharat, the third one was amdan. Meaning that if I ask you after this, that's it. First time I forgot, the second time, okay, this time now it's an amd. قال إن سألتك, if I ask you عن شيء بعدها, after what's already preceded. So ayat number 77, فانطلقا, then they set out again. So they're moving on again, continuing their journey. فانطلقا حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجد فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. So they set out again until this time they came to a people of a town. حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية, they came to a people of a town and they asked its people for food. استطعما أهلها, they requested from them to feed them. They're travelers. So this is when you're traveling and you go to a town, you're a traveler there, you're their guest, they're your host. And as you know, there's hospitality is something which is essential in the life for a believer. So they requested that they give them hospitality. فَأَبَوْا أَنْ يُضَيِّفُوهُمَا, they refused to offer them hospitality. Here you find they asked for food, they refused to offer them hospitality, to highlight that it was a request for hospitality. And they found that in a wall about to collapse, so Al-Khidr restored it. So there was a wall that was about to fall over, and it would have been obviously harmful and damaging. So Al-Khidr restored it. So Musa was, again, he's thinking, okay, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense according to what's apparent. He said, لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا. You could have done it, you could have offered it as a job, meaning that I'll do this service and you give us hospitality. Instead of, if they didn't want to give it to them for free, then I'll work for it basically. That's what offer. Right, so again, Musa questioned the Al-Khidr, but this time he didn't ask a question. He just made a statement. He didn't ask a question, he just made a statement. So remember, don't question me and don't oppose what I'm doing. So Musa, then Al-Khidr in ayat number 70, it says, قَالَ هَذَا فِرَاقُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنِكَ. This is the parting between me and you, based upon the condition, all right? سَأُنَبِّئُكَ بِتَأْوِيلِ مَا لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. I'm going to inform you of the explanation and interpretation of that which you could not have patience with. Right? So here, this is basically saying the condition that we set on this, that's it, it's now been broken. So after this, don't keep me. We're not going to have this companionship where you're going to be able to travel with me. No. Then he gives the explanation of all the three things that Musa alayhi salam was unable to have sabr with. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith which is mentioned says if only Musa was able to have patience, meaning that he would be able to have learnt so much more. Right, again, the student of knowledge has to have patience with his teacher. He has to be patient with his teacher. So one of is in addition to traveling to seek knowledge and being humble and having humility with your teacher, also have to have patience because knowledge takes time. So ayat number 79, it says, أَمَّا السَّفِينَةُ فَكَانَتْ Ayat number 79 says, أَمَّا السَّفِينَةُ فَكَانَتْ لِمَسَاكِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ فِي الْبَحْرِ فَأَرَدْتُ أَنْ أَعِيبَهَا وَكَانَ وَرَاءَهُمْ مَلِكٌ يَأْخُذُ كُلَّ سَفِينَةٍ غَصْبًا. As for the ship, أَمَّا السَّفِينَةُ, it belonged to poor people working at sea. فَكَانَتْ لِمَسَاكِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ فِي الْبَحْرِ فَأَرَدْتُ أَنْ أَعِيبَهَا. And I intended to cause defect in it, as there was after them a king who seized every good ship by force. ظُلْمًا, غَصْبًا, means taking it from them, stealing it from them, taking it from them without having a right. So here you have, for example, there was a king after them who used to take every ship by force. So Al-Khidr made a defect in it, i.e. made a hole in it, so it wouldn't be worthy of stealing or taking because it's not ocean worthy. Then ayat number 80, that's the first instance. The second instance is the ghulam. What about the ghulam? وَأَمَّا الْغُلَامُ فَكَانَ أَبَوَاهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ فَخَشِينَا أَنْ يُرْحِقَهُمَا طُغْيَانًا وَكُفْرًا. As for the boy, then his parents were believers, and we feared that he would overburden them by transgression, طغيانا, and disbelief, kufra. Here, what the scholars of Tafsir mention is that they believe this boy there was a disbeliever and their parents were believers. Or they mention that this boy used to cause a lot of corruption in the land. So, how would he have caused them to fall into overburden of transgression and disbelief? Meaning, if out of their love for him, he would have been a source of harm for them, grief, anxiety, or even worse than that, their love for him would have led them to follow him in his disbelief or in his going against what is considered what is commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then it continues with regards to the boy, ayat number 81. فأردنا أن يبدلهما ربهما خيرا منه زكاة وأقرب رحمة. And we intended that their Lord should substitute for them one better than him in purity and nearer to mercy. خيرا منه زكاة is better than him in zakat. Look, remember they said رجل زكية, i.e. it was pure according to apparent, but the reality was the opposite. The reality was that he wasn't pure, and they wanted to replace him with someone that was going to be righteous and pious. And then ayat number 82, the story was of the town, the people of the town, and the war. وَأَمَّا الْجِدَارُ فَكَانَ لِغُلَامَيْنِ يَتِيمَيْنِ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. As for the wall, it belonged to two orphan boys in the city, and yatim is someone that's lost their parents. وَكَانَ تَحْتَهُ كَنْزٌ لَهُمَا. And under it there was a treasure which had been buried for them. And this treasure, it's the scholars of Tafsir mentions gold and silver, in addition to scrolls which has valuable knowledge on it. Right? When it comes to treasure, a treasure isn't just money, physical, but it's also the treasure of knowledge, of knowledge. So it says, وَكَانَ تَحْتَهُ كَنْزٌ لَهُمَا وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. And their parents were righteous. فَأَرَادَ رَبُّكَ أَنْ يَبْلُغَا أَشُدَّهُمَا وَيَسْتَخْرِجَا كَنْزَهُمَا رَحْمَةً مِّن رَبِّكَ وَمَا فَعَلْتَهُ عَنْ أَمْرِي ذَلِكَ تَأْوِيلُ مَا لَمْ تَسْطِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. Then he says, there was a treasure beneath them, beneath the wall, and their father had been righteous. So your Lord intended that they reach their age of maturity, which is either bulugh or 18, and extract their treasure so that they can actually benefit from it, and it's not going to be taken from them. And this is a mercy from your Lord. Then Khidr says, and I did it not of my own accord. Right? He says that is وَمَا فَعَلْتُهُ عَنْ أَمْرِي. I didn't do it of my own accord. ذَلِكَ تَأْوِيلُ مَا لَمْ تَسْتِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. That is the interpretation, ta'wil, of that about which you could not have patience. There's a lot of benefits in the story, but just to summarize, with regards to the child being protected, it was as a result of the righteousness of their parents. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected them because of their parents or their grandparents. Right? And this is the case to the point that Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, he says, when I pray and I remember while I'm praying my child and my children, فَأَزِيدُ فِي صَلَاتِ, I increase and better my salat. Why? Because he's seeking from his righteous actions hifth of his awlad, the preservation of his awlad, and protection of his children. Right? So this is the importance of this story, Qissat of Musa ma al-Khidr, in summary. And there's a very important message overall with regards to being a student of knowledge, being a talib al-ilm. You're leaving out, seeking knowledge, going on a journey, going through ta'ab, difficulty, as is mentioned in this story. Musa alayhi salam said, we've become nasab and we've become found difficulty, right? You're going to show humility, because knowledge you can't attain knowledge if you're arrogant or proud. Also, you're not going to have debates with your teacher seeking to show that you have more knowledge, for example. There's other things. However, what's important is that the benefit and the purpose of seeking knowledge is to do righteous actions. لا تطلب العلم لتحدث به وَاطْلُبْهُ لِتَعْمَلْ بِهِ. Don't seek knowledge just so you can speak about it and make yourself a person who appears to be knowledgeable in front of the people. Seek knowledge to act upon it. Seek knowledge to act upon it. والله تعالى أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.